would be way into that. So definitely
That's
good
what
to
I
hear
was
that.
referring to, is like having your own base and taking territory around it.
Dynamic map. Awesome.
I won't promise that will actually go in first, but I would love to see the ability to build your own base. Anybody that played Shadowbane back in the day, I would love to have that kind of system in a modern MMO.
Reaper, go ahead.
A question on the PvP. Are you guys going to have like an arena, or is it just going to be open PvP?
Well, we have two types of PvP. So we do have an arena-based PvP, and that's what we consider our esports PvP. We have obviously more casual type game types like the Harvester, Sabotage, TDM is a casual game type. But we want to support, very small team-on-team action. But we also want to support open world, massive battles as well. Obviously, the arena base is a lot easier to implement, so that's got implemented first, and that's what we currently have in the game. But sooner or later, we'll be starting to work on that open world PvP, and that's what we were just talking about, is what form does that take to start with? It might just be a big open area. It might be army versus army matchmaking, where it's an instance arena. The area of New Eden, though, will probably always remain protected, so that players can PvE and not worry about going into PvP. We always want PvP to be an opt-in experience, and whether that means opting in by like going up to your own priest of Discord and flagging yourself, or whether that means going into an instance, not necessarily a private instance, but another instance of the server where there's thousands of players all fighting for each other. There will be some sort of opt-in.
Just a quick question on the PvP. One of our users has asked, will there be dueling within squads? Because currently you cannot duel your own squad mates.
Yeah, that's a bug that I think I just need to open and get it fixed. So we added dueling very quickly. It's just because we're like, hey, we can add dueling. Well, let's do it. But then we never went back and actually cleaned up all the little things like that. So there's some things we need to fix on that.
Gotcha. Another just quick 2-second question. Currently the camera shoulder only pans on the right side in the third person mode. Will there be like a toggle button to switch the camera between the left and the right shoulder?
So that's a technical question. I don't know if it's possible. I mean, obviously, technically it's possible to just move the camera over. But then the question is, do we flip the character as well? Or is he holding the weapon in his left hand and right arm? It presents some problems with animations and other things. So I'd have to talk to someone technical about that to see whether that's even possible to do it right.
Gotcha. Thank you. Sergeant Asher, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about the air. Like, what kind of air vehicles would you be allowing? And also, you mentioned something about a convoy, like supplying resources to certain places, like maybe take resources back to your base and stuff like that.
Well, that's a question for you. What kind of air vehicles would you like to see? We've got the things concepted for all of the above, right? We have the small, agile fighter type crafts. We've got the larger drop ships that are already in the game that we could easily make player flyable. There's a bunch of different options there. It's really what players would like. The convoy stuff was just an idea. It's something that may come along with armies and army technology. We always thought it would be cool if there was a little bit more to collecting resources than just they pop into your system, because it opens up the ability for other armies to really affect your gameplay. And to create some really cool and dynamic things that happen player on player that wouldn't otherwise happen if things were just automatic. So I think the idea of a convoy type thing, where you have big trucks carrying your resources back and forth and you've got to protect those, creates some interesting gameplay mechanics. So it's an option for you guys. If you guys have particular vehicles you'd like to see, besides the default normal ones that you can kind of expect from every game, let us know if there's some really cool stuff. Obviously, I think we're going to avoid water-based vehicles for now, since water is probably the deadliest thing in Firefall. But beyond that, anything is optional.
Bicycles.
Bicycles.
Dr. Scheich, go ahead.
Bicycles. All right. I have a question concerning the alliances. How do they work? Since the armies are only 25 men, how would they work? Would they work like EVE Online, as in corporation? And then there's one mutual alliance chat?
Yeah, we're not sure yet. That really, I think it comes down to what type of what type of gameplay elements do we get implemented in time for armies? How do the army limitations affect those gameplay elements, and then how could an alliance affect those gameplay elements? On top of that, what kind of open world PvP gameplay are we looking for? To start with, I think you could very easily see alliances being just very rudimentary, just like we like to release things early and then add on to them. So I think our first initial alliance type thing would really just be the ability to chat with other people and creating an alliance chat, and to know that they're in your alliance. So some kind of notification, some social structure built around the alliance. Beyond that, when it gets to the gameplay elements, we have to really look at, well, what are we even implementing, and whether those alliances make sense, and what kind of features could the alliance provide to the game that we can't get through the armies.
Okay. And if you don't mind me asking another
Go ahead.
quick question, what do you usually play on Eve?
Well, what do I play on you?
Yeah.
I have a Caldari battleship, still a Raven, I believe. I haven't played in a while, so it's been a while since I played.
Zero or Empire?
Oh no, God. I've only been in small corporations, so I can't live in 0-0 space. I've been out there a few times and gotten my ass handed to me, so I kind of stick to the homeland and do pirate missions and mining. So I have like 6 characters that all have different things on them, and I kind of dual box it or triple box it depending on what I'm trying to do.
Hotbox. Next question.
All right, fair enough. Thank you.
Angry Donut, go ahead, buddy.
Oh, thank you. I was wanting to ask, since I haven't seen it up on the forums or anything, it might be up there or not. Is Firefall going to end up like being a persistent world when it comes to like, say, a single event comes along, like you defeat some of the alien baddies and a giant, and more of the world gets opened up for everybody? Is that a possible thing that might be added into Firefall eventually?
It's actually one of our big selling points is the staged content release. So right now we have a very limited area that's blocked by the melding, that big purple wall that
That's what
blocks
that
off
is.
the area. So the idea is that players will work together to really push back this melding over time. And when that happens, you'll definitely see that as a worldwide event. It'll be something that will take multiple weeks or months, depending on how quickly players can actually get it done. But then they'll all work towards the same goal, and then when it'll affect across all servers to really be this worldwide event of a new reveal of whatever area. The reason for that is we really want players to feel like they're affecting the world and that things are happening that they have control over, and that story gets delivered onto the next piece of content. So even though we're already working on Chapter 2 and we haven't even released Chapter 1 yet, well, Chapter 2 could change slightly depending on what happens with Chapter 1 and you guys, how you guys have interacted with the world. So definitely you'll see those worldwide events.
Another question as well. In terms of the loot system, back when I first saw Firefall, or gameplay trailers of Firefall, I saw that there were loot drops and, a rarity system. And that's what really got me interested in Firefall in the first place. And when that was taken away, it kind of made me feel sad inside. But why did it get taken away in the first place? From what I've gathered, it was because you guys wanted to go towards more of a crafting system instead of loot drop, right?
Well, it kind of went away for 2 reasons. One was we got rid of the leveling system. So we got rid of the idea that you're going from level 1 to level 15 and getting equipment that have level restrictions, and we created this tech tree. And through the tech tree was how you unlock the different pieces of equipment. So the problem was when you have loot drops in that tech tree scenario, you get loot that you can't use. One, you're not even on the right battle frame. You have a weird, you don't have that option unlocked with certification to actually use that piece of equipment, and then you don't have the constraints to use the equipment. There's too many things blocking you from a random item drop. With the new system, we have a lot more options open for that because there's a lot more shared components across the board for different battle frames. There's the constraint system is simplified, and you're not unlocking certifications to use certain pieces of equipment. So loot drops will definitely come back into the world in some way, so you can expect to see those. But the old system, just the tech tree and loot drops were not compatible with each other in a good way. We could have really shoehorned it in there and really forced it upon you, but it just didn't work out the way we wanted it to. So they were removed, and it became all about the resources. Obviously we've heard your feedback from a lot of people, and we want to make sure to make that change.
Yeah, it's more, this is not another question, it's more like a suggestion. It could be like loot drops are, you can actually have like rarity of loot drops, but they could also never be as good as craftable stuff, but still good.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that has been tossed around is the idea that loot dropped items, they might even be more powerful than crafted items, but they have a lower durability, so they'll go away faster. But you'll have a really cool item, and for a while you'll be able to use it and be really badass with it. But then after a while it'll degrade to the point where you can't use it anymore.
Yeah. Well,
Thanks, Donut.
thank you for your time.
Thank you.
X-Trick, go ahead, bud.
How do you guys feel about the development and where the game is right now? And when do you think the open beta and possibly release would be happening?
Well, I think development is going. It's moving. It's not moving as fast as we'd like it to. I've said multiple times that we're a small company. I don't think people really understand what that means. They see that we have 140 people and think, wow, that's a big team. But if you look at games like Assassin's Creed 3, just came out, right? They had over 500 people working on Assassin's Creed 3. And that's not including all the people at Ubisoft and other places that were helping them make the game and the outsourcers that they used. So 140 people trying to make a AAA game, especially one of the scale of Firefall, it's a lot to do. So we'd love to be moving faster. We'd love to be able to get those things done, but we're hitting limitations on manpower and time. And so that's affecting some things. But I think we're moving in the right direction, and I think that as long as we have that passion and we have the audience there that really supports us in that'll continue, and it'll be working great. As for open beta, you can definitely expect to see that happen this year sometime. Don't know the exact time, and I can't really announce that right now. But you can definitely expect open beta this year. I've made that promise multiple times, and I'm going to stick through it, even if that means that I turn on the servers myself if I have to. We are going open beta this year. Now, release, that's a whole nother topic. We're going to probably be in open beta for quite a while. That's the life of a free-to-play game. Open beta is pretty much release. At that point, people come and play. They don't have to pay anything. They never have to pay anything. There's no store shelf you have to worry about or Christmas time to hit in order to hit your sales. So open beta is release, but we won't remove the beta tag for quite a while.
Thank you.
Any other
Sorry,
questions?
just give me 1 second. Yeah, we have a couple more. My bad. Lop26, go ahead.
All right, I have a few questions. One was concerning you're talking about the convoy trucks. Would a free army fight zone where you have to gather your own minerals and defend them as you bring them back to the base be a kind of thing to go along with mineral convoys?
Would you like to see that?
I think that would be very interesting, a big open part of the world, especially if you put in the Chosen as the other side, and it's kind of the Chosen can fight each other over minerals, but so can the Accord armies.
Yeah, PvE is something interesting. You always talk about
A giant mineral gathering session.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think it'd be awesome to do that. That'd be pretty cool. You could drop down thumpers, and people could try to take them from you, and could even do larger harvesters and other things. It's a great idea.
I have some other questions. One thing about server instances, I find when, as an army, we're trying to do things together, we spend way more time trying to all get into the same instance of the game than we do actually doing anything. Could there be a checkbox in the options? You always join the same instance as your army or your friends list or something along those lines?
It's supposed to be automatic, and it's something we just haven't implemented yet.
Okay.
We want to look at your friends list and your armies and who you played with recently to try to find the best server possible. Obviously, right now what happens is you'll automatically join the last server you disconnected from unless that server does no longer exist or it's full. And so then we would start to look for other servers for you, including your army, your friends list, people you had fun with, people you PvP'd with, things like that. But that second part of the system hasn't been implemented yet, and that's just time.
Okay, another thing I was wondering, in the first cinematic you guys did of the game, the engineer had turrets that he could command to move. Is there any chance of that coming back into the game?
I will say that what you saw in the cinematic was not a battle frame that we have announced yet.
Ooh, what? All right, that stopped my question. I'm done with questions then.
Thanks, Lop. Alrighty, next question's from Halzar. Go ahead, Halzar.
Thanks. Hi. So my question is like, is water exploration or like submarines, is that totally out of the question? Or like something that we see like in Guild Wars 2, like when you go into the water, you get like a different set of abilities. Is that totally out of the question?
Right now, yeah. It's interesting because it's not a lot of technology to do